Hey everyone, so in my video for 5 things players dislike about GTA 3, I said that if you guys were able to get the video to, I believe it was 20, could have been 30 likes, I would make a video for Vice City. Either way, you all did that, so I really appreciate it. So now I'm here with the video for Vice City. 5 things that players dislike about the game. Some are similar to GTA 3 because they have similar weaknesses, and the ones that aren't the same to GTA 3, I tried to make them things that are a bit more obscure, but I know other people out there still have these issues with the game, so this is really just things that I have an issue with, and also things that I know other people do as well. So I do hope you enjoyed the video, everyone. Let's get down to the first one, which this is one I'm sure all of you were expecting, so I want to just get it out of the way. It's the no swimming. Swimming in this game would have been a really cool addition, which I briefly discussed in the video on GTA 3. In that video, the water, I discussed it and how basically it doesn't really look that appealing to swim in. Sure, it'd be a cool addition, but I don't think it really ruins the game in any way, and it doesn't ruin it here not being able to swim. But the game's in Miami, and it's a very bright, vibrant setting, so I think being able to go in the water would be a really cool addition to the game, especially with the definitive edition. I know it is a remaster, not a full remake, but it would feel like it would have been a good idea to add swimming to all the games, you know, just replicating what they did in San Andreas. But either way, in this world, the water looks great. In the definitive edition, it looks pretty decent, and in the actual, original release, it looks pretty good for the time. And the water's just always looked really nice to me. I wish we could swim in it, but unfortunately when we do, Tommy just dies. Even if his head is above the water, he just dies. And obviously when his head goes below the water, he can't swim, so he just dies. Which, is pretty strange. I'm not too sure why that's the case, but I do wish that they updated it and changed it for the definitive edition. And it can be a bit annoying, for instance, when you're in a boat, for instance, and then you're trying to hop off it and get onto the land, but then, you jump and then you miss it because the boat's still moving, and then you fall in the water. Like, there's a lot of instances where you just fall in the water. It is very irritating. Definitely something I wish they fixed, but ultimately, does it really affect the game? Not really. It just makes it a bit annoying during some story missions, especially when you're out on the water and you might fall off your boat. That can, definitely make you fail a mission. So next up, I wanted to talk about another one that was in GTA 3. I wanted to get those ones out of the way because they're both pretty obvious ones I know a lot of people really dislike about the game, and that is the cops, even more so in this game. In GTA 3, I said they were pretty aggressive in that video, and that they'll just ram you. Of course, that leads to your car blowing up, stuff like that, and that's still the case here. However, I noticed more armored vehicles in this game pop up when you start getting 4, 5 stars, and the worst part is that in this game there's a lot more cops just walking around on foot, and they have these really annoying spike traps that they throw along the ground. And I don't know if this was an issue in the original release, but in the definitive edition, these guys pop up out of nowhere. You'll see them, and then within a second they throw out this trap right in front of your car. So unless you're expecting it, which you will come to eventually when you play the game a decent amount, but even now I have a decent amount of hours on the game, and if they're right in front of me, I'll go to swerve out the way and it'll still catch my back tire. It is very irritating, and just the fact that because they're running around, they can very easily, if you crash, they can run up from nowhere, pull you out of your car, and then you're busted. So that is quite an annoying part of the game. They are still quite aggressive in this game as well. They will ram you. I don't think they did in GTA 3, they might have, but they do set up like they do in GTA 5, where they try to sort of block the road so that you can't get through, which, you still can if you just ram them, but it is quite annoying having to deal with that. So let's get to the more obscure ones, and this one is probably going to be the most divisive one that I have in this video, but it is something that I actually, weirdly enough, dislike, and that is the fact that, in my opinion, the first island is actually better than the second one. Usually in GTA games, you start off on the more basic island, and then as you progress through the game, you unlock, the more better looking island, really, with, better cars, bigger structures. Like, it's just a lot more going on than the first island, especially in GTA 3, where it was sort of just like the mafia, and then you had very bland cars, bland sort of buildings, and then you move on to the second, third island, there's a bit more going on, like, more bendy roads, sport cars, brighter buildings sort of thing. In this game, I find it's actually the opposite. I think that we start on the better island. It is a smaller island, but like it's a lot skinnier. But when you think of all the iconic locations in this game, most of them seem to be on this first island. You might not really agree with that, but that's perfectly fine. But to me, the locations I like to visit the most, they're all on this island. And I think like all the bright lights, all the neon, most of that is on this island. There is still some on the second island, but there's just better locations on this island. And as I said, usually, you get the better cars as you progress through the game. But on the second island, the cars aren't as good, in my opinion. There's not really as many sport cars. There's more going on that island, but there's also, this island feels a little unfinished. Like there's a lot more bland buildings with nothing really going on than on the first island. I just think the island that we start off on just has a bit more detail and it's a bit more bright and vibrant, which is something that I really like. But let me know, do you prefer the first or second island? Okay, so this one is another quite obscure one, but this is one that I have experienced and still am, and I know a lot of people have too if going off the videos I've watched have anything to go by. So I'm talking about the stunt jumps and the fact that you need to do, I think there's 36 in the game, you need to do all of them in order to reach 100% completion. And I'm in this position right now where I have one left and I can't figure out which one it is. And I know a lot of people have been there, and it's annoying because it is in the other games, I guess. Like you're always going to have one left if you're trying to complete them all. But it's not just that I have one left and can't figure it out. I've watched tutorials and like the videos of people doing all of them. I've gone through, done it all, and some just don't register for me, which is really weird. I have one left, as you guys can see here. It is really annoying. I'm trying to go for 100% completion and I can't because there's other stuff I haven't done, but still I'm relatively close, and this is just something that's holding me back. There's one left, I've done all of them. And I've looked it up, apparently some just don't register, like it depends on the vehicle, but I have one left and I don't know which one it is, so it is quite annoying. I know other people have had this happen to them as well, so if you know how to fix that, let me know, because it is quite annoying. Now I'm pretty sure I know which one I haven't done, but it still will not register to this day. I've tried it a bunch, it's very annoying, and it stops you from getting 100% completion. So I know this one is a bit more, I guess, personal. Like some people might not have had this one be an issue, some people might have. Let me know if it's been an issue for you and if you were able to resolve it, because it is quite annoying and it does stop you from being able to complete the game 100%. So this final one isn't something that I really have an issue with anymore, but it's something I know a lot of beginner players have an issue with, and probably something I remember having an issue with when I first started the game, and that's the storyline. Now before you guys get upset, I don't mean how the story is told or the characters. I think the story is actually pretty good. I'm talking about a specific part of the game. I'm sure some of you might be able to guess it by now. I'm talking about when after the mission Copland, the game doesn't really tell you what to do. Now we know, yes, you're meant to go around, purchase all these assets, start doing the missions for them, making sure you buy the printworks because that's essential to getting the final 2 missions of the game. But you have to go around buying assets, I believe at least 5 or 6 maybe, and you can keep going with the storyline. But the game doesn't actually tell you that. It doesn't say go around and purchase assets. It just sort of says good job on completing the mission, you can now earn money from the Vassetti estate, and then it just sort of leaves it at that. It doesn't actually tell you what you can do, which is pretty strange because you might have some missions left over from Avery Carrington. I know a lot of people don't like his missions, especially the plane one, but there's still, like, it doesn't really tell you anything to do if you go back and do those. I remember when I first played the game, I thought, maybe I have to go back and complete those older missions I've skipped, like the phone ones or maybe the Avery ones, just the ones that I didn't really want to do until later. I went back, did those, and it still didn't work, and I remember being confused for a little bit until I looked it up. So I feel like the game should have been a lot more clear about what you're meant to do. I'm aware it isn't really the biggest issue, but I feel like it should have been a little bit more clear as to what we had to do. So let me know in the comments, everyone, what are 5 things you dislike about GTA Vice City? I do love the game. I've mentioned before it is my favorite in the series, so it was a bit difficult to think of things that I really don't like about the game. But in this one, if we can maybe get it to 40 likes, I'll do the same for San Andreas, and then eventually look at things that players love about the game. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks everyone.